But of course, changing the benefit system isn't the only answer. There will be groups who do need additional help to find work, and that's particularly the case for young people. When we came into office, we did inherit a big problem around youth unemployment. Despite having experienced a decade of economic boom, youth unemployment had been rising. Between 2008 and early 2010, it had gone up from almost 700,000 to almost 950,000.
If you think back to when pensions were introduced, of course, life expectancy was around the age of 50, you got paid your pension at 70, and there's a good article about it in today's Times, actually. Nowadays, of course, you can expect maybe a couple of decades of healthy retirement.
280 what we call frameworks, particular sort of skill areas, if you like, linked to 1,500 job roles. So again, many more than you find in most countries across the world, and many more than there were just 2 or 3 years ago. So what we've tried to do with apprenticeships is to make it match the economy. So most of the apprenticeship growth has been in the sectors and industries and areas where jobs are being created.
It was known, the Access to Work programme has been described as government's best kept secret. So government has started to market it more, which is a good thing. There's been an increase in take-up for people needing mental health support. There was this sort of great statistic that less than 1% of the Access to Work provision went on people with a mental health condition, whereas at the time 43% of people on incapacity benefits had a mental health condition as their main impairment. So there was a real mismatch.
About 3 years ago we started on this journey, and there are a number of reasons why we did it. One of the big reasons for us was, as you saw from the video, and you've kind of seen from some of the stats I've shown, we have a large number of people in our business, and actually about 60% of those are under the age of 25. And then also, as is just very commonplace in our sector, our turnover is pretty high, so we turn over about 50% of people every year. You know, the majority of those students kind of going on to do other things, but it's high turnover. So that means we employ 12,000 new people every year.
Addiction doesn't just affect individuals. It affects families, and it affects communities. And it affects all of us because it cuts across every single agenda. It cuts across health, crime, looked after children, welfare, people moving into employment, allowances, benefits. It cuts across every single agenda that you can think of.
As a result of that, I think it's fair to say the government now takes the work of select committees far more seriously than it used to, and it has a significant impact into the development of government policy, in this case the business innovation and skills policy of the government.
Former industrial areas are much more likely to be in the lower skills equilibrium quadrant, so you know, lots of comparatively poorly skilled workers, but actually very weak demand for skills amongst the employers in the area as well. But increasingly we're getting more areas in this kind of skill surplus quadrant. There's been lots and lots of policy attention in the last decade, I guess, on improving the supply of skills in the country, with the idea that if you upskill the population, there's productivity gains and you become more internationally competitive.